basically 20 times the size of the scene. We all have coaches and stuff. Haas is not a pro gamer. He can't keep up. But he's one of the best coaches in the business for like coming up with specific plays and corner cutting and shit. Like he would definitely be on the team of one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, I would imagine. He's like a worse SOS kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where man, do you know how happy I was when I saw SOS versus Maru and SOS was just being absolute genius.
I was like, I remember the first game I saw him open Twilight and I was like, oh, I haven't seen this against this ever. Like, you know, someone just going Twilight. Then I'm like, and then I see Blink start and I'm like, you have to stay one base if you do this. And I'm like, oh, it's SOS. He's like so totally fine to stay one base. He doesn't give a shit. He's like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I'm like, okay, I mean, like that does actually make sense. I'm like, but I never see anyone do this. And then you see Maru there, and he's like, you're meant to be trying to take an expansion. I better commit to this Widow Mine drop. I better commit to this. And then that final game where Maru's like, am I down 0-2 against SOS? And just forgets his second supply depot. And you're like, oh my god. SOS broke Maru. He broke Maru, guys. Like, oh no. It's the same thing that happened to Innovation against Life when Innovation was meant to win that year. 2015, I believe it was. And everyone was like, Innovation is the best player by far. He's so much better than everyone, yada yada. And yeah, and then basically it was like, well, no. Life is going to get to game 5, do a 2 roach pressure, which he will spot on the map. He's going for a Thor drop. This is like a really unique Thor drop into bio build, if I remember correctly. He spots the Thors barely with his medevac, boosts back across the map, thinking he's being roachling all in, and is like fucking trying to defend what he assumes is like 20 roaches and massive Urglings coming. And it's 2 slow roaches that have walked across the fucking map. And he's like looking around with his Thor drop like, what is it, what is it, what is it? And Life's actually doing the most nonsensical opening, which is actually technically a greedy opening. And Innovation is like gone for one of the most expensive pressures in the game, and he's ran it home for like 2 roaches. And it's like, he's just behind now. And then he played the rest of the game pretty average as well. You could tell he was tilted. He couldn't understand what the fuck Life was doing, because no one could understand what Life was doing. Half of his builds didn't make sense, right? A lot of his shit was so random, man.
Life was playing either incredibly greedy or incredibly cheesy. There was nothing really in between.
Yeah, he didn't give a fuck. That was like that was his superpower as well. Is he like gave so little?
To be honest, like he really was a gambling guy. So
oh yeah.
Like it really fit into the whole thing, right?
Oh yeah. Went a little bit too far with the gambling in the end, but
oh man, 2 drones so low. Oh damn.
Oh, I don't even try to finish them. I'm like so chill, especially at the start of the day, because that's like the easiest time to just like overcommit. But yeah, definitely. Even just forcing
getting 2 cancels, that's already big.
Yeah, Spore Crawler Tricks is big. A lot of people don't realize that. They really go, oh, he saved it, that's bad, he counted my damage, and I'm like, nope.
It's free damage.
Yeah, and it is damage. It's lost mining time, and
so nice. He doesn't have a 3rd. He couldn't, like, if he had a 3rd, he couldn't have afforded the Spore Crawler.
Exactly.
Add-on complete.
So nice, yeah. So, yeah, thanks for...
fuck off! I can't believe I just lost a fresh mule, I'm a dummy.
Oh man, dropping mules on naturals.
Well, that just actually is totally fine.
Yeah, I would say that as well when I just lost a fresh mule.
Yeah. And that's called slow reactions. Like, it was literally just because I panicked as well. I was like, oh, you can't. Like, I was like, you didn't come in just after I threw that down. And then I was like, wait, if I clicked it faster rather than having that emotional reaction, I would have been totally fine. Like, it wouldn't have done shit. But I'm like, oh, no, we had the emotional reaction. Shit.
Well, alright then. So thanks for actually watching them so like impromptu, because I actually didn't expect you to say yes, but yeah, that's nice. Feels really good. I felt really good after the last 2 games, especially because I just kind of overran him with the stuff that I always do, and it just feels so good when it works out. Roach, Hydra drops, lurkers.
Yeah. No worries,
so
man.
I'm going to head out now and have fun and enjoy your stream, and don't lose Hellions like that, please.
It was calculated gamble. I don't know. I saw the gas already done on his natural. I knew he didn't have a lot of units. And if that queen didn't fucking surround me, then it would have been amazing.
I call those YOLO Hellions, and I goddamn hate this. They hate those.
You don't like? You're not a fan of 4GG?
Getting so upset is just like, so like I even get upset at YOLO Hellions when I deflect them perfectly, because it's just like, do you really think I'm this stupid? And then there's like this, like every other game, or like every 3 or 4 games, there's this one game where I'm like supply blocked and not getting links in time because of it. It's just like, I am actually that stupid, thank you! So upsetting, I hate YOLO Hellions so badly. You have literally no units at home or anywhere else. It's like, let's send my Hellions in!
Yeah, it's it's actually the most frustrating thing to lose to, but it's so hilarious as well.
Well, enjoy your stream, have a good night.
Laters, man.
See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
Hell yeah! Add-on complete.
I saw these guys crossing the map earlier. Oh, you're kidding me. As if he was in position, man.
Command center upgrade complete.
SCV ready. Big job. SCV ready. Word. SCV ready. SCV ready.
Ready for dust off.
SCV ready. Absolutely. SCV ready. Word. SCV ready. I'm in
Not enough energy.
This better be good. SCV ready. Gangway.
Research unacceptable. Our SCVs are under attack.
Boy. SCV ready. By the numbers. What's going on?
Upgrade.
SCV ready. I'm on it. Who wants? You gonna get it. Go ahead. Go, go, go. In the rear with the gear. SCV ready.
Add-on complete. Additional supply depots required.
This better be good. What's going
Add-on
on?
complete. Additional supply depot. Not enough energy.
SCV.
Additional supply depots required.
You gonna give me orders? Who wants some? Big wait. SCV ready. Who wants some? Gangway coming through. With some power, get heavy.
Somebody, get me out of this mess. Ready for dust off.
Roger that. Affirmative. This better be one of these to me, boy.
Research complete.
Who wants some? It's about to get heavy.
Life flight's here.
This better be you. On big weight. This better be big weight. By the number. Arm. Gangway. Coming through. You big job.
Mineral field depleted.
Go ahead. This big weight. Boy is here. By the number. Gangway.
Additional supply depots required.
SCV ready.
Add-on.
One. By the gangway. Coming through.
This game is a mess, mess, mess. This game is a mess.
Armed and ready.
Okay, so what we have to do now is play Turtley Turtley.
Coming through. Tenfold. Piece of me, boy.
So we have to go bam bam bam.
Big job, boy, is here. Why not? Who wants some? This, you gonna
Actually on this map I feel like I'll probably lose unless I play like a 45-minute game. I'm not really keen on it because I feel like my opponent would have to be really bad. And this player, Sac de Fromage, is actually a pretty good player. Played against them a bunch in the past, so I don't really think they're just gonna throw the game.
This better be good. We could use some help here. You want a piece of me, boy? SCV ready. Arm, you gonna give me orders? This bit. SCV ready. Oh, it's on.
Mineral field depleted.
Go, go, go! In the rear with the by the nose.
Yeah, so a few ghosts mixed in is not bad, but
Add on.
Oh, it's on. Been waiting. You want a piece of me, boy?
Our SCV is under attack. Command center upgrade complete.
Armed and bent. I am you gonna get been waiting on. Oh, let's have a blast. Gangway coming through.
Upgrade complete.
Ghost reporting.
extra attack upgrades there.
Time's a wasting.
Ready for pickup?
Mineral field depleted.
This bit. Gangway coming through.
Research complete.
Go, go, go. Ghost reporting.
Ready for dust off.
Sure thing. Ghost reporting. Gangway coming through. Who wants?
Where?
Go ahead. Armed and bandit.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Sure thing. Big job. Go, go, go. Boom, boom, baby. Gangway. SCV ready. Orders. Armed and ready. Ah! You're scared. That. Coming out with it. Let's get it. Fix me out, will ya? Get me back in this. You got something.
Upgrade.
SCV ready.
Upgrade complete.
Ready. Ghost reporting.
Mineral field depleted.
Out with it.
Waiting on you.
Gangway coming.
Add-on complete.
This better be good. Orders received. Of course.
Ping. Light flight's here.
Ghost reporting.
Waiting on you. Let's go.
I'm wasting. This better be good. Big job, huh? There's something in
I was
the
like,
way.
I don't know if I can be bothered playing like that. And then I'm
Go
like,
ahead.
yeah, we're gonna play like that.
Unacceptable. We are at maximum supply.
Okay.
Let's have a blast.
Research complete. Add-on complete.
Ghost.
Upgrade complete. Nuclear
Yeah, whatever.
unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply.
I've been waiting on. This better be good. Looking forward. Who wants some? Ready?
Mineral field depleted.
You got it. Can't wait.
Mineral field. Mineral field depleted.
You don't.
Picking up.
Bad news.
Vespine geyser exhausted. Upgrade complete.
Well, butter my. Who wants?
Mineral field depleted.
SCV ready. What's going on? Who wants some? Come again. I'm heavy measure.
Our SCVs are under attack.
It's an interesting engagement there.
Our SCVs are under attack.
What's going on? I can't build here. SCV ready.
Acknowledge.
I can't build here. Come again. So huh? You gonna give me orders?
Add-on complete.
Who wants some? By the numbers, boys. This better be good. Been ready to blunder.
Upgrade. Add-on complete.
You got it. Ghost reporting.
Now what? Dropping off. Here's your stop.
This better be good.
Command center upgrade. Vespine geyser exhausted. Base is under attack.
It's getting too hot.
Ah, fuck. All my ghosts just got caught. I let him get cornered.
Mineral field depleted.
Out with it. Go ahead. Big job. I'm in a world. Go, go, go. Don't leave me hanging. Ghost reporting.
Mineral field depleted.
Yes, sir.
Mineral field depleted.
This better be good. Copy that. Ready to blunder. Gotcha. What's going? Go ahead. Gangway, coming through. It's about to get heavy. Now with it. Give me FTV ready. Fighter ghost report. Yeah, right. FTV ready. Sounds like a plan. FTV ready.
Command center upgrade.
SCV ready. Go solo operative.
Mineral field depleted. Upgrade complete. Mineral field depleted.
This better be good. Huh? Yeah. Let's have a blood. Who wants some?
Not enough minerals.
You gonna give me orbit? Solo operative, right?
Nuclear missile ready.
Give me the sit rep. Go. We could use some help here. You want to Blue fighter. Out with it. You sure about that? Come again. We could use some help here. This better be good. Been waiting on you. Got it. Come again.
Where's the emergency?
By the numbers, boys. Fighter
Nuclear
flight.
missile ready.
What's going on?
Vespine geyser exhausted.
Roger. You want a piece of me, boy?
Mineral field.
It's getting too hot. Give me the
Vespine geyser exhausted. Nuclear missile ready.
That's fine. It's getting too hot. Give me
Yes.
Ready for pickup?
this. Better be good.
Go. Don't leave me hanging. Got 'em.
By the numbers.
Time's
Out. Babe. Go ahead. Who won?
Nuclear missile. Command center upgrade complete.
Gangway. coming through.
Go on.
Ghost reporting.
Mineral field depleted. Base is under attack. Not enough energy. Not enough energy.
Ghost reporting. Come again.
Somebody, get me out
Not
of this mess.
enough energy.
I'm in a world of hurt. Got him.
Ah! You scared me. SCV ready. Gangway, coming through.
Time. Go.
Go. Out with it. Ghost reporting. Go, go, go! SCV ready.
It's about to get heavy.
Upgrade complete.
Yeesh. You've been... Come again. Give me the silver strip. This better be good.
Not enough minerals.
Armed and ready.
Not enough minerals. Not enough energy. Not enough energy.
Something. Who wants some? Ah! Out with it. Go, go, go!
Not enough energy. Mineral field depleted.
Queued up, ready to go!
Ready for dust off.
Ready to blunder. Ghost reporting.
Let's
Now
have
what?
a blast.
Transformation system is prime. Can't wait. Who wants some? I feel ya. Ghost reporting. Affirmative. Who wants some? Ready to blunder.
Our SCVs are
Ghost
under attack.
reporting.
Mineral field depleted.
Ghost reporting.
Mineral field depleted.
Need something blown up?
Mineral field depleted.
Bad news? This transfer. Come again. Armed and ready. Gangway. Coming through.
Mineral field depleted.
Affirmative.
Mineral field depleted.
Ready to blunder. Gangway. Coming through. Sounds like a plan.
Baby.
Been waiting. You sure about that? Go. Confirmed. Ready to blunder. Operative, right? You gonna give me orders? This better be good. Out.
Say the word. It's about to get heavy.
Who wants some?
Mineral field depleted.
Yes, sir. It's getting too hot. Gangway. Coming through.
Let's have a blast. Oh, it's on.
Looking for. You gonna give me?
Mineral field depleted.
Go ahead. Ah! You scared me. This better be good.
I think there's a creep tumor over there that I missed.
We can use some help here.
It's about to
Ghost reporting. You can been waiting on. Who wants some? Out with it. You sure about that? It's getting too hot. Go, go, go! Something in the way.
Let's have a blast.
Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Huh? Yup. Solo operative, right?
Not enough minerals. Upgrade complete. Vespine geyser exhausted.
You gonna give me orders? Out. You can this. So, go. Been waiting. Who wants some? Armed and ready.
Vespine geyser exhausted. Command center upgrade complete.
Go. Give me this. Out with Ghost reporting. You sure about that? You're on. Okay, solo. Go.
Mineral field depleted.
Give me a sit rep.
Not enough energy.
Big job, huh? This
Not enough energy.
By the you gonna give me orders? Say the word. Armed and go on.
Not enough energy.
big. Go ahead.
Command center upgrade complete.
You gonna by the numbers, boys.
I was just checking there was nothing behind the mineral line, like on that other one. Like if that's something he makes a habit out of, then that's obviously really annoying.
Talk to me.
Wait, what the fuck? How did you miss that?
You gonna give me orders?
Alright, stop wasting all your scans.
Not enough energy.
This better be good.
Now what?
Who wants?
Out with it.
This
Solo.
we could use some help here.
You sure about that?
Base is under
Ghost.
attack. Mineral field depleted. Not enough energy. Not enough energy.
Big job, huh? Yep.
I can't build here. What's that? I can't win
Ready for
here.
dust off.
I'm on it. Confirmed.
Who wants some?
It's getting too hot.
Unacceptable command. We are at maximum supply.
You gonna give me orders? Been waiting on you. On by the numbers, boys. Sure. Who wants some? Got it. That's fine. 10-4.
Ghost reporting.
We can use some help.
Ghost reporting. Come.
Been waiting on you. Out. You gonna give me orders? Looking forward.
Where's the emergency? Dropping off.
You sure about that? Solo up. Out with it. Come again. You're on. Deploy. Go. It's getting too hot.
Base is under attack. Mineral field depleted.
Will do.
Out with it.
Vespine geyser exhausted.
By the numbers.
Upgrade complete.
I feel
Light flights here. In the pot.
been
Waiting on you.
by the numbers.
Solo. You
Somebody, get me out of this mess.
out with it. Come again. Nothing to it. Solo. Go.
Who wants some?
Mineral field depleted.
Been waiting.
Give me.
You gonna give me orders? Yes, sir.
Out with it.
Been waiting on.
Vespine mineral field depleted.
Come again. You should get too hot. Come again. Out with it. So let's get too hot.
Are you ready? Let's get it.
What's that? Go ahead.
You
Got no patience for sitting.
give me this.
Mineral field depleted.
This
Out with it.
gateway coming through. Kaboom, baby! You can. Bad news?
Mineral
Go,
field
go, go!
depleted.
Yep.
Go ahead. Let's have a blast. Ah! Been wait. This better be good. Roger. Who won?
Solo up.
You can. This better be good. I'll be by the number.
Go.
I'm in a world of hurt. Armed and ready. Oh, it's on.
You sure about that? Come again. Go. Good.
Base is under attack. Our SCVs are under attack.
I can't build here.
Go. You're done.
Our SCVs are under attack.
Armed and ready. Aye, aye.
Solo operative.
Upgrade complete.
Yes.
This better be by the been waiting on you. Can't wait.
Give us your best shot.
You gonna go
Ghost
orders?
reporting.
Talk to.
Go.
Where's the?
Out.
Gangways coming through. Oh, it's on.
Go.
This better be good. Go, go, go!
Picking up or dropping off?
Baby! By the numbers, boys.
Nuclear missile ready.
Roger that. This better be good. By the numbers.
Ready for dust off.
Solo.
Base is under attack. Mineral field depleted.
Give me the sit rep. Solo operative, right? Come again.
Mineral field depleted.
Efficiency is off the chain.
Go ahead. What's going on? I can't build here. Got a hole.
You sure about solo operative, right? Okay.
This better be.
Will do.
Been waiting on you.
Out with it. Confirmed. Ghost reporting. You sure about with it? Come again. Give me the sit rep. Paint the target. You sure
Mineral
about
field depleted.
Go.
In the rear with the gear.
You sure?
Been waiting. Gangway. You hear me?
Ghost reporting. Solo.
What's that?
Come again.
You now. But go, go, go. Let's have a blast.
You out. Go. You're on.
Ready to roll out.
Bad news? This better been waiting on you. Gangway coming through.
It's getting
About
too
to
hot.
get heavy.
Coming.
This better be you.
Suit up, ready to go.
Base is under attack.
Out with it. Go. Solo operative, right?
You gonna give me orders? By the number. This better be good, big one.
Solo operative.
Nuclear.
Go, go, go! Kaboom, baby! Who wants some? You gonna give me orders?
Got no.
Out with it. Give me the sit rep.
I'm this by the numbers, boys. Who? Been waiting on
on you. This better be good.
Our SCVs are under attack. Our SCVs are under attack. Not enough minerals. Our SCVs are under attack. Our SCVs are under attack. Not enough minerals.
This better be good.
Unacceptable.
It's on.
Unacceptable landing zone.
Gangway, coming through. Been waiting.
In the SIP Ghost reporting.
Go, go, go!
Solo operative.
This better be.
Is he actually out of minerals? Oh yeah, he was. Okay, we exhausted him. I was like, does he realize I'm dead? He just killed all my last SCVs. Like, got a few command centers, but I'm not really mining right now. I'm like about to secure a base. I was like, I think he's actually broken me down. Like I lost a few too many units there when that extra Ling reinforce came in. But hot damn, guys. 25,000 resources more efficient. Oh, GG. So, basically, he played a really good early game. After I lost those Hellions, it wasn't great, but then there was a series of him winning little fights that established a sick lead. He was also going really fast muted 3-base, which is like quite a greedy build. Oh, yeah, this is a build which normally would straight up die if I hit my like Cyclone and Hellbat pressure really cleanly. But I didn't because I lost those Hellions, and then my Liberator flies into the Spore. So this was just one of these games where I was like, oh god, I was in a really bad spot. But let's go to like, how does he break me once I'm just turtling, and how could he finish me off? Now obviously, I think there were a few moments where he was way ahead, but he was struggling with like, wait, how am I going to finish this game? Now I think definitely a Broodlord timing and being crisp with that is one of the best ways to win. So I think one of the biggest mistakes my opponent made is he went Mutalisks, and he did a good job with them. They were running around, they did damage, even commits to upgrades on them, which is pretty cool. But then goes Hydras. So I don't think you should ever go Hydras until Mega Late Game. Hydras is like a, oh, okay, I want a general purpose unit while I'm picking away at my opponent with Spellcasters and that sort of stuff. And Spellcasters is something we didn't see any of in this game. And that might be down to the fact that we can see it's kind of one control group syndrome, which is okay until you want to use Spellcast as well, until you want to use counterattack as well. And those were the two things which are missing from this late game. So if you're gonna play to the late game like this, I think definitely you go for those Broodlords faster. Don't be wasting money on the Hydras. And then you grab, like right now, there could be Broodlords morphing. And we could be seeing Broodlords morph like here, since he's in such an advantageous position. Bring every single queen to the front. Build extra queens at home to replace them. And then you basically throw your queens on your main army hotkey, use them to transfuse. And if you can add some Infestors in there, or Vipers, that's amazing as well. I prefer Infestors against a Bio player, because you can fungal the Ghosts, you can fungal Vikings, and you can, of course, fungal the Bio. So all of that's very, very powerful. So a few Infestors is great. But even if we just went straight Broodlord, Lingbane, Corruptor, Queen, that's going to get the job done. That would have finished this game off. However, let's imagine we go to late game, Terran's got a force, building more planetaries, is trying to make Ghosts, is trying to turtle, is doing what I'm doing. There's always multiple avenues you can attack from, and there's two schools of thought. So I like to really split it clearly in my head. Wouldn't Queen Brood just die to Ghost? No, you need a ton of Ghosts. So you could have hit that before I actually had the Ghost count up. So you definitely a couple of good EMPs and a bunch of good snipe micro, and it can get awkward. But basically, if you have Infestors as well, if the Ghosts all run forward in a clump, then you fungal them. So once you get to a higher Ghost count, if you're not hitting that sharp timing, you want to have Infestors. And what you do is you keep your Infestors spread out, and you send them in one at a time. So you've always got like one with your Broodlords and a few others spread kind of around very close nearby. So if the Ghosts all run forward and try to snipe, you just land a fungal on them. So that forces them to run forward and try to EMP you. And then you always have your Broodlords on a separate control group. and you want to stutter step them, because Broodlords only need to be in their attack range for like a millisecond, and they will throw the Broodlings, and then you can pull them back out of snipe range. So often what will happen if you're doing that dance properly is the ghosts will land 1 or 2 snipes, 3 or 4 at most. If you're a bit slow to react or you're not paying attention, then maybe you'll take a ton of snipes. But usually you'll take 1 or 2 snipes, but you'll also kill a few ghosts. You've always got an overseer, a couple overseers, some on follow command on your Broodlords. You've also got a couple of overseers just hanging around that aren't necessarily hotkeyed, which you'll run forward to make sure you've got vision of those units. You can also run Banelings forward to blow up those ghosts as well in some scenarios. If the ghosts run forward, you can run Banelings into them. But normally it's just your Broodlords stutter step forward, your Broodlords stutter step back. Your Broodlords go forward, your Broodlords go back. If those ghosts ever overextend, you land Fungals. If you overextend your Broodlords without support, they all get sniped. That's the dance that goes on. And I would say most Terrans will just get their fucking face kicked in if you get good at that micro. But definitely, I think in this game we didn't even need to do fancy micro, because I would have only had a few ghosts out by the time the Broodlords could have hit in this game. You can go back and trace it, replace all that Hydralisk money with just teching a Broodlords faster, and it's a much cleaner timing. But attacks like this, where the whole army, we can see it kind of comes back to the one control group syndrome, where everything just kind of A-moved in, whereas the Broodlords should be going in first, the Corruptors manually going into snipe Vikings as they come forward, and the Bane Hydra should only be going in if the ground army engages, right? This was a bad area to engage to, though, as well. Like, we should have been finding a better angle. All game, this was a weak side, which we could have counterattacked. We could have sent Ling Bane crashing through. We could have kind of crashed Ling Bane through this ramp, avoiding this planetary in towards my natural a few times. But basically, you definitely don't want to be too cramped up. You want to try and make sure you've got enough room for your ground units. You can use, like, Queens on hold position. You can... I personally don't give my Corruptors a control group. I just, like... I just control click my Corruptors and A-move them forward most of the time, but it's up to you how you want to control it. But there's a real complicated dance. The other way to do it is to just play like low tier kind of Baneling, Hydra, Ultra, and just try to roll over your opponent with your superior economy, and that's valid, but you do want to be up at about 85 drones, sometimes even 90 in that scenario to make that work. And if you're not in that scenario, this was really bad for me, losing all my ghosts. Ugh, letting them all get trapped up there. This was the moment where I thought I lost the game. Like, that was a good fight for Zerg, in that it got rid of all of the very valuable, important units. But, yeah, if you're going to be very YOLO with big Baneling attacks, you want to have a bigger economy, and you want to keep hitting from multiple sides, because mobility is your friend. So if you're doing big A moves, like, Broodlords aren't the best unit with that. If the Terran micros properly, it's better to have, like, couple Ultras, couple Banes crash through this wall, hit there. At the same time, the rest of your army comes in from here. I think Infestors are probably the easiest spellcaster to use. Even with Bane Hydra, like you bust in here with a bunch of Ultras, they stim down this ramp, and your Infestors come up, and you land some Fungals on them as they come forward, and your Ultra Bane is somehow able to engage into it. Whereas, you know, obviously if they're all pre-spread and nice defensive setup, it's not going to work so well. So... yeah, definitely I think sharp Broodlord timings are obviously the best way to leverage an advantage and finish off a Terran before they get enough Ghosts or Vikings out or anything like that. I mean, Vikings are never really the answer to Broodlords, right? Because Queens, because Corruptors, both very good anti-Viking units. Vipers and Infestors, both very good, but the Terran does need to have a few Vikings just to kind of force your Corruptors forward, so then they come into snipe range. Once the Corruptors are gone, then the Vikings can clean up the Broodlords. So it's a really complicated dance on both sides. I think if you check out Raynor's builds in Codes round of 32, he played some long games against like Keen or someone. Was it Keen? I can't remember who he was playing. But he was playing a pretty good Terran player, and Raynor was looking really good in the late game with just like Queen, Broodlord, Infestor. And he was like staying on that composition. And you can see him do really competent micro and really good dancing. So I think that's a good player to learn from. Yeah, counterattacks would have been huge. Counterattacks would have made a huge, huge difference. Because, yeah, he was... Sac de Fromage was way up on supply. So he could have rolled in and overwhelmed me. I was doing the... And I said it from earlier. I was like, man, like, I don't want to stay in this game because I know I'm so far behind. I was like, if I do this, I'm kind of just hoping that he, like, you know, messes up and takes a few YOLO engagements into my defensive pre-spread. And luckily, you know, I managed to kind of put enough pressure on with nukes that... he eventually did that. Oh, I got a big nuke over there. Damn, I don't know how many nukes actually landed because I basically just queue them up and don't... Look at them! Okay! Well, that was a big turning point in this game, I guess. So yeah, this was a big turning point in this game, guys. We're gonna turn the sound effects on and replay that. So I was just defending, I was behind, I was trying slowly to clear creep, and I finally started sneaking nukes out, and bam! And at the same time, we had another one that just got placed on the bottom left-hand side as well. Oh, so that was huge. Knocked him down to 38 drones, and there wasn't much bank for Zerg either. Oh, very nice. And then this Ghost actually finishes this hatchery off when I realize. I look back down here about, yeah. And the Broodlings get their revenge. But yeah, wow, I managed to hang on there. That's good. That's really good. The units lost, of course, was insane in this series. Some big points, of course, you basically just have to sit in your defensive stead position. Try to keep your shit pre-spread. Your ghosts are your most important control group. Everything else is just on one control group, you'll notice. And whenever they attack, it's like, just don't let your ghost die and cover everything in snipes. And you can see here, it was mostly a Hydra army, and they still only had +1 attack on their range as well. But just Hydras are not the best kind of standard engagement unit. As a Terran, if your opponent keeps making Baneling, Hydra, these sort of mid-tier units, you want to make sure you keep building siege tanks. So there was 1 or 2 points in this game where I rebuilt just a couple of siege tanks, because obviously their range advantage just gives you insane efficiency over the long term. But once again, you know, lots of these units go down. We managed to just keep weathering the storm and just dropping mules like crazy on this base. And the idea is you always just want to try and move forward one base at a time. It's like really slow and methodical. Remember how I literally built turrets here and then here before even taking that base? GG's. That was sick, though. That was a fun game. Hot damn.